All right, should be live now. So hopefully, if everything goes well, after this video is done, there should be a video automatically uploaded to our YouTube channel with
Mm-hmm.
recording this meeting. So first attempt. Hopefully, I set up everything all right.
Yeah,
All
using
right.
OBS or
No. It's using Hangouts on Air, which is a way to automatically stream your Google Hangouts to your YouTube channel.
okay, great.
But it seems to be slightly complicated, so I have to use two computers to do it, which is unfortunate. But sure. All right. So first meeting. Welcome everybody. So I have a tentative agenda. So unless there's any reason not to, should we just go over the agenda one by one?
Yeah, maybe we can put a maximum time per item, like 5 minutes. And if something goes over that time, we cut it out. And then at the end, if we have time left, we can go back to it if it's important.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, I don't have a clock handy. I'm not
I
sure if
can
you want to be
look.
super strict about it, or if you just wanted to like ballpark it, be like, we've spent too much time on it, we'll take it offline.
I'm going to be looking at my watch, and I could give you guys a warning, like, hey guys,
Mhm.
like 5 minutes have passed, and we can decide if we move forward.
All right. So first thing is the triage. So we have one issue under triage, which is adding the feature to migrate V2 derivation scheme. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen this document. So basically, for the Trezor wall implementation, to avoid the issue she mentioned, where you have to like recreate and delete wallets a million times, we would like to have a new option to basically migrate an existing Yoroi wallet to your current Yoroi wallet, if that makes sense. And the question is how we do it from a UX point of view, right? So there's two main possibilities. One is the easier implementation where we take the dateless code and we kind of copy it and change some stuff, and then there's two buttons, right? The slightly more complicated implementation is basically we have one button, and depending on the length of your mnemonic, if it's 12 or 15, the behavior is different. So I don't know if we want to have 2 pages or just 1 page. Any thoughts on this? No thoughts on this?
In like yeah, maybe one like icon, and inside that we have two options, like current dateless transfer, and the next will be maybe
So one of the reasons I thought it might be nice to have 2 pages is to make the UX a bit more clear why you should even click on this button. I think if it has a dateless icon on it, it's easier to understand. And partially related to that is that, you know, we can have the migrate Yoroi to Yoroi, but it's actually not super accurate because what it actually is able to do is migrate a V2 wallet to a V2 wallet, right? So you may want to instead have icons like on the bottom where you have wallet instead of to Yoroi. But maybe that's a bit more confusing for the user.
like we are also working on new icon. It's not new, we can not say new, but there will be special icon for Yoroi working with Trezor, so maybe we can use that icon if
So maybe first we could decide if we're going to have multiple icons, and then we can eventually pick one. And if people get confused, we can iterate and release a new version with a better icon. But maybe the question that could like make things different in the UI is that if we're going to have one or two, and probably if we're going to have one and we're basing in the length of the mnemonic, maybe it could be like the wrong approach because, for example, Trezor or Layer could have like different mnemonics than Yoroi, which Yoroi has 15, and Trezor I think has 12, but you also can pick 24. So maybe related to the mnemonic also is going to be confusing because it could actually be a hardware wallet that you have from like Yoroi, and you can move from like a hardware wallet to a normal wallet or the other way around, or like between different hardware wallets from Trezor to Ledger or Ledger to Trezor.
But I guess that's totally fair point. But yeah, we still have to choose if we want to have one button or two buttons, in a sense. Because The argument for one button is in the future, if we add more stuff, it all falls into the one button. But the counter argument is that maybe the UX is not as clear.
Probably in the code part, like from Yoroi to Yoroi is going to be like more similar to the Daedalus, because in the Daedalus we have also the option that you can do the manual transaction, because you can have two instances open.
Right.
I guess
it's easier, like for implementation. I think
the easier one is just to copy paste everything, right? You can probably do that in a day's worth of work. If we do some sort of more complicated screen, we merge stuff together, that's a bigger, like a UX design task.
Yeah.
And more bigger coding task. So if we want to just get this done as fast as possible, I think the splitting into two for now is fine, and we can merge them later.
Yeah. I'm okay. Like both is okay for me, but I think giving two icon is more easier in the current design.
All right, I'll do that then, unless Nico has any objection.
No, I think it's pretty good, two icons.
All right, and then we just need the icon, so we need somebody to make the icon.
Oh yeah, we can send this link to Marta and explain to her like briefly, and she can make the icons.
All right. Okay, that's the only discussion under triage that we had for this week. So next thing is PRs merged this week. Just go over and to make sure everybody knows what's happening in the project. So what's happened? So I cleaned up the store folder. I made them mnemonics to be stored when you create a new wallet. So this is some still relative store folder. Still relative store folder. I did the first part of the UI cleanup. I have the second part that's still in the work. And then the other one is I enabled React Dev Tools for our project. I just want to say for this one, you have to be kind of careful. I shouldn't say careful, but it's messy. Because the way it works is that when you open Yoroi on the developer build, it'll try and open a WebSocket with the React Dev Tools. But if you have not launched React Dev Tools, I notice it just spews errors constantly in your console log. Just fails to open socket or network error or something. So I don't know if there's a good way to remove this error if it fails once and only check on startup or something. But right now it's really ugly because it just fails constantly. So yeah. Any other comments on pull request merge this week? No.
No time to check.
Okay, what else do we want to discuss? Treasure support progress. Shin, you want to give us a progress update?
Yeah. So this week, we are like not much, how to say, development, but yeah, we are working on review part of connecting Trezor with Yoroi. So yeah, that maybe possibly I will finish today. Then yeah, Nico has handover work of sending transaction using Trezor, which I am like understanding, and also Nico is helping with the code, and remaining is like some view related things like showing icon of Trezor when Yoroi is working with Trezor, and other view changes will be, suppose if the updated version which has Trezor support, so we will show some link of non-Trezor Yoroi wallet to promote Trezor, that user should be able to use this. So few view tweaking is remaining. Yeah.
Well, wait. Sorry, I didn't really understand what you mean by promoting. You mean like if a user doesn't have Trezor installed, we will tell them they can upgrade to Trezor? Is that what you mean?
Like anyhow, we. Okay. Yeah, Nico.
Okay, I can take over that one. So the idea is that there is a lot of users that know about crypto wallets, but they don't know that much about like hardware wallets. So the idea is that similar to the banner that we have for when you're using the testnet or staging version, we want to have a similar banner where we're going to talk about hardware wallet, and we are going to have a link to a video where it's going to explain what are hardware wallet and what are the benefits and what are the cons of them. And also related to that, if someone wants to buy a Trezor, there is going to be an affiliated link from Yoroi. And everything that we do for this, we're going to like reuse it for like more development. And maybe we could even pay for like an external company to do another security audit and stuff like that. And eventually when we do the layer support also, we're going to put a link for layer.
All right. Yeah, it requires some thought on the UX, but sure, that sounds fine.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all you had for this week, or did you have anything else?
Yeah, for treasure support, I have only this. Yeah, few things I've added that is like 3 minutes discussion. So maybe is it okay to discuss that now?
Yeah, I think I should probably add to the agenda just like stand up or something like that. Just go one by one. Sure, we can do that now. All right, go for it.
Yeah, like the first one is maybe there are two links there, like front end develop app API common.js and then ada error.js. So error.js is like clear that we declare errors here, but in common.js also there are few declaration of error. So I was like trying to understand that how I should use in which situation, like which one.
Right. I think yeah, the reason this file exists is to basically bridge the API layer with the store. So I'm not sure if any of these errors bridge with the store. If they're using store, that's why they're here. If they're not, then I don't know. Maybe they should be moved. But that's basically the reason. That's why they're all requests and responses, because these are supposed to be the types you use to bridge to the API from outside.
Okay.
So yeah, you can look into these errors to see where they're used. If they're not used outside the API folder, then yeah, sure, you can move them to error. But otherwise, I would keep them here.
Okay. Yeah, like still have to like better understanding. So I just like wanted to have a like everybody should be aware that we have to.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And next is like I was using eval source map, which is like related to source map debugging, and which gives me like better result than the current. And yeah, Nico was also using that and he also liked. So maybe we should move towards that.
Yeah, but and also that one will be only for like the development webpack configuration. And at least in my computer, this is going to have a performance hit. At least in my computer, I didn't feel it, so I wouldn't complain. Maybe for someone else, the performance hit could be like considerable. So it could be like like 10 seconds or something to compilation. I don't think so, but yeah, it's going to have a performance hit, but I think it's worth it because actually you can debug much better with like breakpoint, checking variables using Chrome.
Yeah, also async call, they split like in one line. If I have three async call, then those call can be splitted, and yeah, debugging will be more like efficient. And right now what happens that sometimes we don't see like unbreak like we cannot set breakpoint on some points. So that's why I tried the another one. So we like if we are using eval source map, then every place we can like settable places we can set the breakpoint.
All right, yeah, that sounds totally fair. Yeah, that'd be nice to have if you have at some point some spare cycles to do it.
So maybe Seva-san could like just change the one line and doing it
Oh,
clean.
do you want me to do it or do you want to do it?
Like my changes will be very delayed to merge in. So like if you are doing cleanup, then maybe you can just change the one line off.
I
Maybe
can set it later. I can do it.
All right.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I suggest having two enlistments. By the way, that way, if you're working on a big chains, you can just go to your other enlistments. It's easier than stashing and popping stuff. But yeah, because for me, I have two copies of Yoroi front end on my computer. That way, when I'm working on stuff, I can handle PR requests and whatever on the other. But just a suggestion. Actually, related to that, I was thinking the other day we may be able to get steps for building in Windows using the
No.
Linux subsystem, right? Because
Yeah.
Windows announced like a Linux subsystem, whatever, for Windows, and I was thinking maybe we can use that to build Yoroi. I don't see why it wouldn't work, and then that may make it easier for people with not as powerful computers to be able to
Yeah.
build even on Windows.
I was using that before, and build was successful. But the problem is with testing, like the
Yeah.
Linux non-GUI does not have Chrome support, so our tests will
I
not
see.
run there.
Okay, so
But
you need to somehow bridge with Windows for that. Okay, interesting.
yeah, but yeah, I was using in my background, like building and running those in my background and running my application using Windows, Chrome. Everything was fine, but when it comes to test cases, it was failing. Like yeah.
Mm. All right, interesting. Thanks for letting me know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, things I'd like to discuss. Or actually, Nico, do you have anything first?
Yeah, the last one, like we have to do around 73 location, 75 location, and fix me as a 41 locations. So is both has same purpose or like different?
Yeah. No, I think it's the same purpose.
So maybe we can just replace those thing and use same, like
Yeah,
only to do or only fix me.
I'm a fan of to do personally, but
So Nico, so fix me is only 41, so it's better to remove, delete fix me and make it to do everywhere.
all right, yeah, I can do that. That seems pretty easy.
Yeah. So
All right, I'll go, I guess, to go in chronological order when these are posted. Yeah, do we want to ship another version before the hardware wall integration?
Oh wait, I was like searching for like some of the conventions related to do and fix me.
Oh, sorry.
So fix me usually I think is like something that's broken code that needs to be fixed, and to do is like to add something missing like features or functionalities. So before like fixing mixing them into one, probably we should check if like uh, maybe the previous team were following a specific convention, because we're going to be missing some information by like merging like to one specific name.
Yeah, well, I'd like to have at some point is some way to just have a report of how many to-dos are remaining in your code.
Yeah, but I guess if we're going to be scanning for to do and fix
Yeah.
me, we just can add like the extra string and it shouldn't be that much pain. I think it's like a vanity thing, so it's like not required to do it. But from now on, probably we should just stick with one.
Yeah.
yeah, like my point was either we understand both or just use one.
Yeah, I can, on my local copy, just switch all the fix me to to-dos and I'll just go over them and see if they all still make sense. And then I'll post out the PR for that.
Yeah. The last point, about this page of GitHub, which is like meeting agenda page, like which is a issue. So like Sebasan has written his like tentative agenda, then make some bullet. So
Yeah.
next time, like everybody should do like that format. Like I was like just which format we should use to like make our points. I have just put in the strings, so maybe which is not good.
Right. Can you guys edit my post, or does that not work?
I think I
I
can,
can edit. Yeah, I can also edit.
but probably someone outside can't.
Right.
I think it's better to keep it one per person.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And maybe we could use like the checklist. So in case that we are missing some of the topics for
Mhm.
like the next meeting, we can like add them, the ones that are not ticked, that
Yeah,
are good to them.
All
yeah.
right.
With
So I can put the general agenda up top, and then everybody can have their personal agenda at the bottom, and you just edit that one post. So we're agreeing on.
yeah.
Yeah, and we are going to, instead of using bullet points, we are going to use a checklist. So we can check the ones that we talk about and the ones that we're missing. We want to check if we are going to talk in the next meeting.
All right. Sure.
Yeah, checklist is something checkbox like or 1, 2, 3.
Like the checkbox, like that
Yeah,
we can
checkboxes
mark.
sound good. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I'll update the stuff afterwards to make sure everybody's aware of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, sir.
All right. Yeah. Back to what I was gonna say. Do we want to ship another version before the hardware wallet integration or not? Because I feel like we have a bunch of stuff that's kind of piling up that are like miscellaneous cleanups, and I'm not sure if we want to bother shipping again before the hardware wall integration, or if we want to do it all at once.
I think we should do it all at once because there is nothing like new feature or like any patch or like fix that we have.
Yeah, it's all just code refactoring.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, sure. Okay, I think code cleanup progress. So the UI part 2 PR is out. There's some weird issue where the tests pass locally, but on CI, 4 of them fail. And they fail for some really strange issue that I just can't figure out why it would happen. So I also have a other cleanup here that's still pending. That's for the features folder. And so I'm gonna merge that one first. But I noticed there's still some other stuff that we need to add to it. I think actually I talked to him about this with Nico earlier. But if you look at any CI build on Yoroi right now, there's like a bajillion logs that get spewed out. It's like 7,000 lines or something. There's some random function that's messed up. And I think maybe I messed it up at some point. I don't know. But I'll do the investigation to see what's happening. It's the issue itself has been an issue for a long time. But I think it's gotten worse recently. And so I'll do some investigation, and that should be done today. So hopefully by the end of today, I'll finish the feature folder, and then maybe by tomorrow I'll finish the cleanup UI. And afterwards, that should be basically the cleanup operation. I think that's all that's really left. So, yeah.
Nice.
Next one, Babel upgrade. So we want to do that after the hardware integration, right?
Yeah, I think it would be too much to do it like with the
Yeah.
hardware and like, yeah, too much code.
All right. Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's aware that that's the schedule. All right, sure.
Related to the Babel upgrade, I have a PR open, which remerged it, and I put like a checklist with all the things that I've been working on. I think, for example, if we ship the hard Trezor tomorrow, we will be able to merge if everything's good in that PR right away. And there is only one error that shows up, but is related to the hot reload that it can update the stores because the store shouldn't be updated, but it's like just for development. It's like uh, it's something ugly that we should fix, but the way to fix it is to update the React router, MobX on the React router, and that is going to be like another PR probably. So I would split this PR so it doesn't get like crazy big in these two parts. But this PR is like, it should be good to go.
All right, sounds good. All right, I think you had two more stuff.
Yeah, right now, the way that we are doing testing in the front end is we're like with Cucumber, I think it's called. Yeah. And basically it's like an integration test that I goes by clicking the UI all over. This is useful, but I'm not, I would prefer to like have a little more like specific testing, especially for like some part of the app that maybe they're going to have like different inputs and we need to make sure that everything works correctly. So I was thinking that maybe we could like another way to test for test some specific parts of the app, especially for example right now that we are doing like the integration with Trezor, that we have like different tests with different type of like inputs and outputs to create the payload that Trezor requires. So we can make sure that when we update like the way that we handle transactions or anything, we still are going to be like able to work with all the things. And probably the best way to do the testing, I think, will be Jest, but open for suggestions if you guys want to think about it.
Yeah, I would say the way you would usually test stuff in an ideal world is you put so much analytics in your application that you can track individual users and all their behavior. And then you take a subset of your users and you turn them into test cases. And whenever you want to do a test, you just replay previous users of your application and see if the result is the same. Unfortunately, we can't do that because we don't have any analytics in the application. We don't plan to do it. So the best way to test is out the window. And we can try and write a system that's basically like a big state machine that tries to simulate a user. And given state, there's a set of actions you could do. And
I would try to avoid that. Basically, I was like thinking that we should like maybe try to follow what other architectures do, like view model, and try to like test what is the logic in, for example, in a view model, and that we are going. It's like that specific like box. So we're going to put like a lot of the input, and we're going to have some expected output. And this doesn't require state. It shouldn't require state.
Yeah, there's also, so Daedalus uses a testing system called Storybook, which we don't have.
That's not that much of a testing system, but it's like more of like to mock up and to develop like UIs. So with the Storybook, you can like turn up like components like pretty fast because you have a web page with that component and you can modify pretty fast. So you don't need to be going to that specific screen, especially when you're like losing state. So basically the Storybook allows you to change like all the prop or the states that the specific component depends, and you can like turn it up pretty easily. So it's more for like development of UI rather than for testing.
I see.
Yep, basically that. And I think for the hardware wallet for the transaction, I'm going to be adding some tests with using Jest, and I'm going to be like testing like different amount of inputs, how they're generated, so I can test like the logic that I'm using to move from like the transactions and how we store the data to the data that Trezor accepts is like correct. And if we do in the future any modification, the Trezor like conversion is going to maintain valid. Yep. And the next one that I wanted to talk about is like the general architecture that we currently have with MoveX. And it seems fine, but the good part, but also the bad part of MoveX is that like pretty free in a lot of stuff. And I have seen that we have some files that have like a huge amount of lines. And sometimes what happens is that it's difficult to test things because there is like controlling logic, conversion logic for the views, and everything happens like in the same file. It's like kind of tangle. So maybe we could like agree in some patterns, or like we could research a little more and like try to divide things a little more, so we could be more independent of activities, and also try to make as much things as possible pure, that they don't modify specific states, that they get an input and they return an output and they don't modify anything inside them. And that way maybe only one file it will have the logic, so that way we could like actually do testing about like the pure components, and or like view models, and this way we don't need to be like doing UI things to test different cases.
Yeah, I mean, so the right now the way it's supposed to work is that the components have no state and the containers have state, and that's the separation. That was violated a few times, but that's fixed in my PR. I don't know. You seem to be really passionate about switching up the framework or the design pattern we're using.
Oh no, I don't want to change it, and I think it will be like so much work to change it. I just want to like make it specified a little more, that we have more guidelines to follow, because sometimes it's not so much about like freedom, but rather than to have some constraints, so you don't need to be thinking about what do you do with your freedom,
Yeah.
because we have a pattern that we always follow, and also that way even our code is going to look similar, and it's going to be easier to do uh, uh, reviews to our PRs.
Yeah, I totally agree. That was part of the motivation for removing the provider that injected the stores and actions into every component, because that revealed that we were violating some patterns here and there. But we need to do more, I think, to make it more obvious what you should do and where you should do it, because it's easy to just break the rules right now.
Yeah, and the idea is to mobiles give us freedom, and that's good because we get to decide, but we should decide as a group and not as individuals. So in every PR that everyone does, that we do different stuff. So the idea is that we decide how we want to do some stuff that are not part of the framework. But the idea is not to change the framework that we have, but rather to be more specific.
Right.
Yeah. So, like adding to this conversation, I also have concerns or points that is not clear. Like I just, do we have any documentation about like mapping of? Maybe I will share my screen. Is it okay, or I want to have a reference of the code? So
Yeah, go for it.
okay.
Can I stop sharing my Yeah, because I think JavaScript has no concept of private or really packages or whatever, and so that's what's leading us to just a bunch of nonsense, because it's all user enforced, and we've actually not done it quite a few times. And by we I mean, the code that we inherited. So
Yeah. So my like first point is I don't have like for now. I'm just correlating store and the view part. So for component, it's components. Okay, it's not directly used from store. What directly used from store is containers. Like there is a relation between these things. Like, is there any mapping that this page is responsible for which file, like which store?
no,
Mm, yeah.
they all get all the stores, which is, I agree, not ideal, but that's the way it is right now.
So, like the problem I felt in designing for Trezor is there is no clear that which store should handle which view. So
You're right. That's a good point.
yeah, for like if I like try to correlate, I have a data transfer, which is response, and we have one Deadler's transfer store. And for profile, we have two pages, and we have one profile store. And similarly, there are few things that are there, but few things are not there. So the biggest problem I feel is wallet. We don't have any store for wallet add page. And what happens that everything is handled here, ADA wallet store. This is like if we see up, it will create wallet, delete wallet, send money, and restore. Like it's also the some part of how to say after creating and before creating. So one piece is missing, that is in store, which is add wallet store. And reason behind that, what else it is doing is it is creating like for creating wallet. We have a listener here for create, and the actual implementation is in the base, uh, which is in wallet store. And for yeah, and if we go inside this base here, so here is the implementation. And in this implementation, it's just like generating new recovery phrase and opening new backup dialog. And for backup dialog, we have specific store, wallet backup store. And I think, but I feel that this is good. Like it's properly handling states here, and everything is, if state changes, it's inside the action. So it's a bit strange. Like we have a wallet store which is handling many things, but for only one part of, like we don't have any store for create wallet. We have only have store for wallet backup store, which is used in creation part, right?
Yeah, the wallet backup store is actually the wallet create store. It's just poorly named.
Yeah, like, but still, if we rename this, we have to move some things, like maybe half creation part is here. After creation, it hand over to the, yeah, wallet backup store. So that, because of that, like because of it's not a good thing to say, I follow the restore dialog method, like whatever done in restore wallet, I used same for Trezor Connect. So so that's why I don't have any like wallet store like this wallet backup store. And the biggest like mistake I did is here in component in dialog, and here it's a container. Here, this file is so big, everything is here, and except only like black box, that it should not any change something value. It changing values also and rendering also. Here, this is the rendering, and in render also I'm changing something. And yeah, so this is the problem. And now how I am thinking to solve it is make a backup store for connect Trezor,
Yeah.
and which I will put in ADA folder. And I think this backup source should also be moved to this ADA.
I can tell you
Yeah,
what I'm doing.
sure.
but I just started today, so maybe some of the things that I'm doing does make sense because I'm implementing the make transaction, and I think like we actually should have a specific story, and I created like a story that's called Treasure Store, and also I put it inside of the ADA folder, like you said, and there's some stuff that maybe is going to be like common for some different APIs. So I put some part of the code that I want to test in the API ADA hardware wallet, and everything that's related to like the response of like the actions. I created a new store, and
Yeah.
also I created a new action related to Trezor, and that's is in app actions ADA, and I create a new file called Trezor actions.
Okay, so we will like talk together and like make a better file and combine our changes.
Yeah, and I just started working on this like 3 hours ago, so I still like maybe I can improve this, and like I'm just like learning more about MoveX and how can we like be more, I don't know, have a better framework that we don't need to be thinking about things that should be like in the specific framework.
Yeah. So when I was looking this wallet backup store, which is today, feel that whatever I'm doing here, it's almost same here for my case. I have also some states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you actually, Shane, if you rebase your change,
Hmm.
that folder will no longer work. Actually, no, it'll still work until but once I merge my cleanup UI part 2, that will break your wallet tracer dialog because you'll no longer have access to state in that folder.
I see. So maybe
And that's
first,
good.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
yeah, I will like I have to update that. I have to move everything to stores.
Yeah,
These,
yeah.
these
Yeah.
things, everything's to store.
Yeah.
Only remaining will be these strings. And also, I have planned to split into 3 parts, like this about part in another file, then connect part in another file, and save part in another file. So yeah, this is how I'm thinking.
Yeah, just try and split up every logical component should be its own component, if that makes sense. And then you'll have one container that connects everything together.
Mhm. Yeah, and also like here is the like condition that which component do you want to select. What I feel that this should be in the container portion, like not in component. Like which, what I'm saying is in renderer, I'm selecting which how to say component to display, whether it's about,
Yeah.
whether
It should be in container, as you said.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll move with that part also.
So the idea is that you're going to add actions. So the actions are going to connect with the stores,
Mm.
and that way, from like from the root, some state or some stores are going to be modified, and that's going to have like a reaction in. And React is going to update the components, right, to
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah.
the changes in the render or in the same like component, which should be like as pure as possible.
Yeah, the basic idea is suppose if I click any button, it will go to the profile store. It will change the state and uh, change the state in action, and render will be automatically like updates
Yeah,
whatever.
through like the props and the states that are going to be passing
All right.
through.
Well, I think we're all on the same page on this issue. So,
Mhm.
all right. I
Yeah.
think that's all we had. Ivan, do you have anything you want to add?
I wrote a comment on my GitHub to check it.
Can someone show it in the screen?
Which one on the agenda, or where did you post this? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can share my screen again. Yeah, Shane, can you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I've stopped.
All right, can you see? All right, progress bar during dayless wallet transfer processes. Yeah, sure. Do you want to talk about this real quick?
Oh yeah, this weekend I spent about 10 minutes to transfer my funds from the Daedalus, and it was like a really long running process without any description, and I didn't know how much time I should spend for it. And it seems like the process right now is much longer than it was when Yoroi just released. I don't know why. Maybe it's
Yeah,
all about.
it shouldn't take that long, because I don't know what we'd have a progress bar for. The only thing we would have a progress bar for is how far you've iterated in the UTXO to see which one is part of your wallet. I think probably the reason it's slower now, and I noticed this while testing myself, is, as you know, the blockchain now contains some very large addresses, and the Rust library takes much longer to parse these addresses, and so that caused a fairly noticeable slowdown. But it's not super slow either, so it should still be fine.
Maybe we should provide some description because I thought that it was some error inside, and I don't know how much time I should spend for this.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so we have
If
a
you are talking
function.
about user experience, it's hard to understand.
Yeah, because you don't know if actually it's like frozen and it's like just spinning around and it didn't work and you should cancel it, or if you should wait or what. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally doable. The way it would look is you'd have 3 steps. One is waiting for UTXO. So you open up a WebSocket, and now you're waiting to receive the UTXO from a backend service. Once you have the UTXO, then you would have a progress bar, which would show how far you've iterated through the UTXO of the blockchain to recover all your funds. And then the third step would be just adding that to your wallet, I guess.
Yeah, probably the time spent is mostly in step one if you don't have a great connection, or like
Yeah.
maybe like there is a bad connection between servers. I don't know, depending of like your region, which shouldn't happen, but maybe it happens because we don't track that. Yeah, probably maybe we could do like some percentage related to like the number of like UTXOs for downloading and then
Be great.
like the ones processing.
But so it would be very hard to do because you basically have to edit the Rust library. Because the way we do it right now is because the communication between JavaScript and Rust is not for free, right? We basically batch everything together. So we take all the UTXO and put it in a batch and then send that off to the Rust library as an array, and then it's done when it's done. So you'd have to figure out how to change that, and that would be a change on the Rust side.
Yeah, but
So-
maybe we could create like multiple batches, like
I mean,
but
it's totally doable to do that. It just requires a code change on the Rust side, I think. Actually, I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
you can bash it yourself on the JavaScript side. I think it works.
Yeah.
I tried it before. So yeah, I tried it. And the thing you have to be very careful about is if you make batches, I mean, not only does it take longer to do if you make batches, there's also a chance you run out of memory as you do it. There's some part of the cleanup that I think may just be because JavaScript uses GC or something where it's not fast enough. I don't know the root cause, but if you have batches that are too small, you'll get a Rust out of memory error. So be careful with that, I guess, or either try and work around it or try and figure out the root cause and fix it. But yeah, be careful with batching because you may run into that issue. Does that make sense?
As well, yes. So
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to work on that issue, Ivan, you're totally welcome to do so. You can ping us on the developer chat whenever you have questions. If you'd like to work on something else, some other tasks, that's totally fine also. But it's a good point to bring up.
Okay.
All right, I think that's all we have for this week, right?
One point I just forgot that I was thinking that we should not never use set state explicitly. Is it like because we are using observer and that will an action, so eventually there is no need to use set state.
Right, that's a good point.
Uh,
I'd have to look into the code and see what we can actually do.
yeah, it's a 15 point at 15 locations we have used set states, and yeah, if you remove that, then everything will be like
Yeah, we still have some other cleanup to do in the UI folder. For example, also I linked to the article on Slack where it's like you're not supposed to have arrows in your render function, otherwise it causes re-renders pointlessly, which is really strange, but sure. And then also I noticed one component, I think it's like the wallet send form, which uses like is mounted, and it has a to-do to basically get rid of it, pointing to an article saying why they should not use this anti-pattern. So that also needs some cleanup. But yeah, there's more work to do on the UI folder if anybody ever wants to fix a few of the small stuff here and there.
yeah. One more point, like when we are going to like upgrade Babel, are we also going to upgrade React? Now we are
I think it's separate, right?
Yeah, it's separate, and we should try to do the things separately. So also QA, if detects any problem, it's going to be easier to know where is like the issue.
Yeah.
So for like all these libraries that are like have like a huge impact in everything, or like can have like a small impact in something like really random. I think it's better to try to like do it by batches.
Yeah, React will be like used like its base.
Yeah, but we want to be able to update React with no problems after we do this one, the PR with Babel, Flow, and the other stuff, and then we do the one with the routers, and then we can update React.
Like I was thinking about how about release on Christmas.
For the Trezor?
Yeah.
Oh,
What?
I don't think we want to set a release date in stone.
So
yeah, we want to talk that about later.
yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right. Anything else? No? Good to go?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations on our first meeting. This will be uploaded to YouTube fairly shortly.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully we'll get the testnet running, soon-ish. I don't know, it's up to HK, but once we do, we can try and have a bigger push for external developers to come join the project.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Goodbye.
All right.